All right, this is it. Your final chance to claim your 1,400 stimulus check. If you haven't received yours yet, you only have a few days left before the IRS shuts the door on these payments forever, right? So stay with me. I'm going to walk you through who qualifies for it, how to be able to claim it, and some major updates on some more stimulus checks that are coming in 2025. So let's go ahead and first talk about this $1,400 stimulus check. So let's talk about who is eligible first. All right. So the IRS is issuing, and they have been issuing 1,400 stimulus checks specifically for those who qualified for that third stimulus check but never claimed it. So to be eligible, there's a couple of requirements. So it's not going to be for everybody. There is going to impact over 1 million people, but it's not going to be for everyone. All right. So who's going to be eligible? So if you're eligible for that third stimulus check and haven't received it, it's probably because of one of a few reasons, right? You did not claim the recovery rebate credit on your 2021 tax return, on your Form 1040. Your income falls within that stimulus payment guidelines. And then also it didn't necessarily meet the deadline. All right. So here's the deadline as it relates to this. All right. So the final window to be able to claim your $1,400 stimulus check here is going to be before the end of the month. And then also making sure that you are also filing that tax return as well before the period closes. All right. So the IRS officially confirmed that the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the remaining 1,400 stimulus payments will be processed and completed by the end of January 2025. So that means if you are eligible but have not received your payment, essentially time is running out. All right. So once the final payments are distributed, there's not going to be an additional extension as relates to this or second chances to be able to claim this stimulus check. All right. So the IRS has emphasized that this round of payment is going to be automatic, but errors or outdated tax information could prevent individuals from receiving their checks. So if you do believe that you qualify but have not received your stimulus payment yet, again, it's supposed to be sent to you by the end of this month. You need to go ahead and take some action here to make sure you are able to get it. So number one, you want to make sure you verify whether you're eligible by reviewing your 2021 tax return and check if you claim the recovery rebate credit. You could also go ahead and use the IRS Get My Payment tool to check the status of your stimulus check and ensure that you have a direct deposit or your mailing information is up to date. I know sometimes people move during different tax seasons. I mean, this is going back to 2021. So chances are if you've moved between 2021 and 2025, you want to make sure you double check and make sure your tax information is up to date. So don't wait until it's too late, because once the deadline passes, unclaimed stimulus funds will no longer be available. So how much could you expect to get? Again, you can get up to 1,400. If you qualify for it, that's going to be the maximum amount that you are able to receive per eligible individual. So if you happen to have a family, right, and you qualify and you meet the requirements, I'm going to share with you what those thresholds are as far as income is concerned, but you're able to get even more checks. However, the exact amount is going to depend on your adjusted gross income from your 2021 tax return. So here's how the payment structure is calculated. So the full payment for one person is going to be 1,400 per person. So if you are a single filer and you're earning up to 75,000, if you're married filing jointly, you and are earning up to 150,000. If you're head of household earning up to 112,500, then you're going to be able to qualify for the full payments. Now, if you make more than that, you could still be able to receive some of the payments, but it's going to decrease over a certain amount. All right. So if your income exceeds these limits, your payment's going to gradually decrease until it completely phases out. And the reduction is $5 for every $100 above that full payment threshold. All right. Now I'm going to share with you the maximum that you can make where you receive none of it. All right. So if your adjusted gross income is above 80,000, if you're a single filer, then you're not going to qualify for this. If your AGI is above 160,000 for a married couple, you're not going to receive any of this. If your AGI is 120,000 in 2021 for a head of household, then you're not going to be able to qualify for it. So as long as you're within that range, you're able to go ahead and qualify for some of the payments. If you're below the thresholds that I mentioned before, then you can receive the full amount. All right. So this is also going to apply to dependents as well. So it's not just for the parents, but if you have dependents, then you're able to receive and qualify for even more of the stimulus money. So this is going to include children and adult dependents as well. Right. They may also qualify for the 1,400 payment each. All right, provided they were claimed on the 2021 tax return. So this is all back to 2021. They needed to be claimed on that tax return. So this means a family of four could actually receive up to 5,600 in total for the stimulus funds. So if you're unsure of how much you qualify for, you can check your 2021 tax return or use the IRS Get My Payment tool to verify your expected amounts. So here is how you should be able to receive the payment. All right. So the IRS, again, they're saying that they're going to send the majority of them by the end of this month. Not all of them, but the majority of them should be sent out by this month. Of course, there's been a lot of changes with the government, so they're probably understaffed and may delay the process, but you should expect to receive it automatically. And then there's different methods of delivery, and it really depends on what information they have on file with you, which is why it's so important for you to make sure you have the right information according to the IRS. So here's how you could be able to expect to receive the payment. So number one, and probably the ideal way to receive it is from direct deposit. So if the IRS has your bank account information from your previous tax return or from a past stimulus payment, your 1,400 check will be sent to you via direct deposit. It's going to be the fastest and most secure way to receive your payments. So if your bank account details have changed since your last filing, you want to make sure that you check with your bank to ensure there's no issues as far as receiving it. A mailed paper check. All right. So some people have already received paper checks for this. So if the IRS does not have your direct deposit information, they're going to send a paper check to your mailing address listed on your 2021 tax return. So you want to make sure that you have the right dates or the right mailing address on that 2021 tax return. And checks, because of the way it's processed, it's going to take several weeks to arrive depending on USPS processing times. So some people may receive in February, even March, April, because again, once they have that information, it's going to take some time if they're going to send it to you out via checks. There's also going to be prepaid debit cards in some cases. So it's going to be related to a small number of recipients. They may receive their payment via an economic impact payment, EIP debit card instead of a check. All right. So these cards are going to be most likely issued by MetaBank, and they'll arrive in a plain envelope from the US Treasury. So here's a couple things that you need to do now in order to make sure that you get your stimulus check if you do qualify. Again, it's not going to apply to everyone. It is going to apply for a small group of people who did not receive it in 2021. So you want to check your 2021 tax return to see if your direct deposit information is correct. Going ahead and using that IRS Get My Payment tool to track your stimulus check status. If you moved recently, update your address with the IRS to avoid missing your payments. Once the IRS processes your payment, you'll receive an official notice by mail confirming that the payment and the method of delivery. If you do not receive your payment as expected, then you will need to go ahead and file what's called a payment trace with the IRS. All right. So this is the IRS's official statement from the IRS commissioner. He emphasized that the agency is going to be sending these out to over 1 million or around 1 million taxpayers. So it's not going to be everybody. It's going to be around 1 million people who overlook this credit despite being eligible for it. And they're going to do these automatically. All right. To prevent the need for having to do an amended return. All right. So that is going to be key. Another thing to keep in mind too, if you have not done your 2021 tax return yet, you have until April 15th of 2025 this year to go ahead and get that done. If you're able to go ahead and get that done, then that's going to be another opportunity for you to be able to receive that check in the direct deposit in the mail or that potential debit card, right? That's going to be rare, but that is something to keep in mind. So there's actually going to be some more stimulus checks coming in 2025. Again, it's going to be based on your state. So I'm going to share with you a couple of state stimulus checks that are coming in 2025, in addition to this 1,400 that goes back to 2021. All right. So here's what you need to know. If you thought stimulus checks were a thing of the past, think again. All right. So the federal government's actually not planning, they're most likely not planning another nationwide stimulus package, but there are 3 states that are proposing and considering creating stimulus checks. All right. So New York, California, and Colorado. So if you live in those states, you could potentially be able to receive a stimulus check in 2025 for those states. All right. So these payments are specifically aimed to help residents cope with inflation, rising cost of living, and economic uncertainty, and also disaster relief. So if you live in one of these states, you can actually qualify for direct cash payments this year. So here's everything that you need to know about these upcoming stimulus checks, including those who qualify. Like I said, it's going to be based on your states, not nationwide, how much you can get and when to expect it. All right. So New York. All right. So New York, they have what's called the inflation refund program. All right. So New York State governor has proposed a $3 billion direct payment to provide financial relief to millions of New Yorkers struggling with inflation. So this program is known as the inflation refund, would return excess sales tax revenue collected by the state directly to taxpayers in New York. All right. So who qualifies for this? This is going to be single filers in New York earning up to $150,000 per year. They're going to receive a $300 payment. If you're married filing jointly in New York, are earning up to $300,000 per year, you're going to receive a $500 payment. These payments should be issued to you automatically, similar to how past stimulus programs worked for the state. All right. So if approved by by the state, payments could actually begin as early as fall of 2025. So again, it's going to be for New York. If you qualify for it, you should be able to get that by the end of the year, right? So and the governor has emphasized that this program is designed to return money to hardworking New Yorkers who have contributed to the state's increased revenue through sales tax. However, the plan must be first approved by lawmakers before payments can be sent out. All right, so this is not official. It needs to be approved, but this is just something to keep out for. So I'm going to be sharing with you updates. But if you are living in New York, then you want to stay up to date on that. All right. So we have California. So California also is looking to send out some stimulus payments as well. So California has confirmed plans for another round of state stimulus checks in 2025. So this initiative builds on the previous programs like Golden State Stimulus, which provided relief to millions of residents in the past years. All right. So if you're in California, how can you get this payment? So payments for this specific stimulus check for California is going to be up to $725 per household, depending on your income level and your family size. All right. So here is some requirements in order to be able to meet this. All right. So number one, you have to be a California resident who filed a recent state tax return. The priority is going to be given to individuals who did not receive aid in earlier phases of the Golden State Stimulus program that happened in the past. All right. So how are these payments going to be sent out? If your state has your banking information, the payments are going to be sent automatically via direct deposit. If there is no direct deposit information on file, a paper check will be mailed. So California's program is designed to assist lower and middle income residents who have been hit hardest by rising inflation and high living costs. So more details are expected to be released in the coming months. Again, this is something that they are proposing and putting out there. Colorado, like I mentioned, there's going to be a stimulus check for Colorado, or proposed stimulus check for Colorado, and it's called the Taxpayers Bill of Rights refund program, which allows residents to be able to receive direct cash payments when the state has a budget surplus. So in 2025, the program is expected to distribute over 1.5 billion to eligible taxpayers. So how much could you expect to get? If you are in Colorado, you could be able to receive, if you're a single filer, you could receive up to $800. If you're a joint filer, married filing jointly, you can receive $1,600. In order to be able to qualify for this, you must have filed a Colorado 2023 tax return by April 15th of 2024. You would have had to live in Colorado for at least 1 year. You also would not have any outstanding tax debts or criminal convictions over 180 days. And these payments are going to be sent out automatically via direct deposit, paper check, or prepaid debit card, depending on what you prefer, and depending on the information that they have. So it's really important to make sure you have the right up-to-date information according to the IRS and your state. All right. So these refunds are designed to provide a reliable source for financial relief for residents of Colorado, and the 2025 round of payments aims to be able to help ease the burden of continued economic challenges. So, kind of to recap here, the final round of the $1,400 stimulus checks is already been sent out. People have already received them. They're still sending those out, but the deadline, like I said, is approaching quickly here. So if you haven't received yours yet, you want to make sure that you check uh now before your time runs out. Also, the New York, California, Colorado are also releasing their own state funded stimulus programs in 2025, and these payments could provide hundreds of thousands of dollars in a direct relief to eligible residents. So make sure you don't miss out. Verify your eligibility. It's not going to be for everybody. Okay, this is going to be for a few select people who are meet the income thresholds. So really important that you have the right information as it relates to your mailing address, your direct deposit information, and also stay on the lookout for more updates as it relates to this. Some of these are proposed, have not been finalized. They have to go through an approval process, but that's what I wanted to share with you all today. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.